tonight I'm going to try and draw several different kinds of leaves, and we'll talk about leaves. Because leaves, well, for one thing, they start one of our, most of us, favorite seasons of the year, and that is spring. And new life. Now, I didn't say I was going to color or make a perfect leaf, but I've made a leaf. But we like the new life when they green up and it fills a tree. When we can look out the door and see all the green in the trees and the new life coming, nests full of little sparrows and robins and starlings, whichever kind, make their homes up in the trees. So in a way, leaves, when they bud out, because they don't start out as a whole leaf, they start out as a little bud. That forms on the tree and then starts to grow and bloom. And we can identify the kind of tree by the kind of leaf. That is, if we have learned that particular skill, which I can for some, but not for very many. There's some that don't signify spring or fall because they are the same year-round. And those are called your tropical trees. Your palms. But they do, the palm is very important, especially to Christianity, because we just had Palm Sunday not long ago. And it reminds us of the story in the Bible where 1 week before Jesus was arrested and put to death, he was celebrated coming into the city with children walking with palms, or at least that's how we celebrate it in churches, with the kids all waving their little palm fronds as they walk down the aisle. Because in the Bible, before Jesus was hung on the cross, a week before, sorry, my lines are not lining up here. I really wanted them to. He was brought in on a colt. Now, I don't remember if it says if it was an actual donkey. I think it just said colt. And they were waving palm leaves or fronds, palm leaves, to celebrate his coming into the city of Jerusalem. Now, I'm sure they did not quite understand the significance of that procession because he hadn't died yet. So they really didn't understand the significance of what they were doing, because they were making way for the king, and they didn't know that he was the king yet, because he wasn't the king that they were looking for at the time. He wasn't the king that would free them from everything physical here on earth. He was the king that would release them into heaven when they died, if they just allowed him to. But it was a celebration. During the summer, the leaves, they stay on the tree while little birds hatch in their nests, if they're happening. I'm not sure what kind of leaves I'm drawing even. I'm just drawing some. But birds are learning to eat and learning to flap their little wings. So that when it becomes time, guess what Mommy's going to do? She's going to push them right on out of that nest. And they're going to have to fly. It's fly or fall. But that may sound mean of the mom bird, but it isn't, because she knows that if they don't fly, if they don't learn to fly, they're not going to be able to protect themselves. They're not going to be able to fly to where they can be warm when it's very, very cold. Flight is very important for birds, and so leaves are very important to the birds, just as much as they are to us, even more so, because we can go inside our houses and get out of the sun. But in the fall, another thing I was going to say about the palms is that they're tropical. So they signify the region that they come from. I think all leaves do. But then in the fall, things change. And leaves change. They change color. Some go red. The red maple leaf is a symbol for Canada. They have a lot of maple up there. And I don't have a picture of a maple right here in front of me to go from, and I'm not trying to stay in lines. I'm a little bit, but those leaves that are dying or turning colors and drying up and falling off of the tree, their work isn't done. Because what happens is they fall on the ground. Most people like to rake them up and take them to some place where they'll be put into some kind of mulch, or some people keep them and use them for mulch in their gardens. They can be put into compost. But what happens when they rot is they become fertilizer for the new life that'll start again the next spring. And I really just thought I wanted to do something about leaves tonight. I didn't have a whole lot else on my mind. And so I thought, well, why not just do something with leaves? But a leaf's purpose is never ending. It cycles throughout the year. If it isn't shading on the tree, if it isn't shading a nest for a baby bird, it falls to the ground, it becomes fertilizer and part of soil for new gardens and life the next year. So everything's a cycle. But the little leaf has just as much importance as the big leaf. And that's how we are. We all have purpose. Every one of us. The palm leaf that is in the palm leaf that is in the tropical area has just as much significance as the leaf in a forest. And the drying up leaf, it's pretty for a while, but it has just as much significance as it did when it first came out. And it becomes eventually new life, where it decomposes. But they all have a value, they all have a reason. And the palm leaf and this leaf, they're not the same, but they do serve purpose. Both of them do. Every region, just about every place in the world, has some kind of tree or plant. I know like the Sahara Desert and places like that, but so anyway, next time you're looking at a leaf, look at all the veining in it. I didn't make a lot of good veins here, but look at the veins in it. And maybe go look up on Google what those veins in the leaves are for. I know they're for structure. That's part of it. So, I will see you tomorrow. I tell you, this shoulder of mine has been really giving me trouble. I'm having trouble lifting my arm above a certain level. And so I'm trying to I'm trying to keep doing the therapies here, because I really don't want to go to the hospital twice a week for physical therapy. But if it'll save me from getting that shoulder locked in, then I may have to do that. Well, that's my thing about leaves. I was thinking about leaves and okay, I'm going to do something about leaves. Hope you've enjoyed this little tidbit about leaves and what they mean. And I'll see you tomorrow. I love all of you. Don't forget to smile and wave at somebody.